Buffalo, New York. Um, been crumping around like 16, 17 years now. Creator and founder of MBH. You already know, neighborhood the fucking world. All that, nothing more, nothing less. You can call me Freak Show, call me 1000 Neighborhoods. You can call me Fades. You can call me Moody Rexx. You can call me whatever, as long as it's one of those. You feel me? So, is crump hip hop? In my opinion, no. So I feel like hip hop has its own culture, and I feel crump has its own culture. And I know some people think like, oh well, crump adopted into hip hop adopted crump type of feel. Like just because something is street, it does not have to be hip hop. So for me, I think if I was to put crump in like a genre situation, it'd probably be close to like rock or like heavy metal to me than hip hop. There's like hip hop has a style, and so does crump. Like then hip hop has a slang, and then so does crump. Like like with bulk, all that stuff, and then hip hop has their slang too as well, and they have a certain style type of way, like a type of way of dressing, and a certain type of behavior within hip hop, and then we have the same thing for crump. So I don't think it is crump. I think it's his own entity because it has its own genre of music. It has like a certain way it helps carry a person just like hip hop. So I'm gonna say no to that question because I feel like it's its own thing. I feel like it's hip hop and then it's crump, not crump is a part of hip hop. So that's how it is for me.
Bang it, yeah. Yeah.
Some of the East Coast like pioneers that I remember, some people I may name may not be pioneers because I really don't. This is me like being honest. I really don't know that much about East Coast crump because I watched them and I was like, it's a lot of talent. But I knew I wanted to do something else, so I started watching them and stopped really watching them and put more attention onto myself. But there's people like Truck, Bruiser, Tarzan. That's 1K when he was Tarzan. Scrims, Judge, of course, like big East Coast to me, like the big homie of the East Coast to me is Spartan. So and that's the Buffalo and Y bro right there. So Spartan, Fanatic, he was a big part. Like Bishop, the hub for East Coast crump was like VA. Everybody had to go to VA. Like that was where everything was at, and Bishop played a big part in the East Coast crump, and that's something like I actually do know. And also with like Fanatic, and Truck, and what was it? Wonder Bread as well. He's done some work and stuff like that, and like Proof as well. I can't forget the mention Proof. Proof done a lot of work on the East Coast. Like he's like the East Coast guy now. Like he's like the East Coast guy now. Yeah, for like that, yeah, I'll leave that at that as the name as that. It's hard with information from like the states only because like it changed due to relationships and shit. So I just stopped asking questions.
Bang it, yeah. Yeah.
Big homie information and what I can pass down to little homies and other big homies is so one thing that can help big homies is that because where we mess up a lot is that we just put people under us without asking what do they want out of this. Like, what do you want out of being in my fam? Do you want to be that guy that's known and everywhere? Then I'm gonna put you on and put you on a platform, use my influence to get you where you need to be. Like, do you just want a family aspect? I'm not gonna pressure you that much about scale. You're here looking for family. You just want to be tight. You don't care where it goes from. You just want to be tight. We could talk about it, but it's like what you want out of the long run of being within this fam. As big homies, we gotta ask people more of that than just letting them in and asking our little homies now, you know, because we just pick people up. We've never asked that question before. So that'll help your being a big homie is just asking them what do you want out of me as a big homie? And so that'll help the big homies going forward. As far as the little homies, they still have to do their part as little homies. There is a such thing as bad little homies. You can do all that complaining about your big homie and all this other stuff, but if your big homie don't know, that makes you a bad little homie. There's so many ways you can be a bad little homie as well. And we gotta take that to consideration too, and a lot of little homies gotta know that too. Like maybe you just a bad little homie. Maybe a big homie's not a bad big homie. It's just that you need to figure out what works for you. And you gotta get more in tune to what you need and not being afraid to leave fams if that's not what you want. Because if you stay, and you know you don't want to stay, but you stay, you're a bad little homie for that. So definitely take in tune to that. And same with my little homies, the same with like when I go teach a workshop or go mentor a community, is the same. I'm trying to pass down knowledge so it can spread. I want everybody in Crump to be tight. Not some people, not just my people. I want everybody in Crump to be tight. So I give them knowledge. I don't withhold information. I really sit with them. If I see someone not getting it, I get with them. This is just me because we're all on the same team at the end of the day, Crump. So I want and I inspire and I mentor the next community to be just like me or better than me. Those are only two options I would accept. As me being better as a man and a leader and a mentor, I like where I'm at. So hitting my mark right now is good enough for me. But if you can be better than me, that's even greater. I have no problem with that. Every big homie is supposed to want their little homie to surpass them and be better, and that's not the case anymore. So as a leader, we need to make sure we're putting people in positions to be better than us or just to like us. Good or bad. Sorry, but good or bad, it does happen. So yeah, it's all about the movement for me. I put a lot of time into the movement, and it's all about the growth and how many tight dancers do I want. I want all of them. I want everyone tight and Crump, not just.
Bang it, yeah.
As a teacher, like I pride myself on my teaching. Like I've spent time with small communities, my own community, my own little homies to help me like become the teacher I am today. And like even this EBS like past weekend, like, you know, people say it all the time, I'm like the best teacher in Crump, like #1. And I appreciate that feedback. You know, that was never the goal to become, that was not a goal of mine. That's just something I hear. And then, you know, but like when I hear from like, you know, like the creator of Crump, like, you know, I've heard it this past weekend from, you know, Tight Eyes, the creator, you know, so it's like that helps me, keeps going. The process of me getting there was a lot of trial and error. So it was all about success and failure for me. Like I felt a lot as a teacher, so I can succeed a lot as a teacher. So that helped me. And just like really paying attention to the students. Like, you know, I don't get up there and teach just to teach to get it over with. I get up there to teach so it can process, it can sit, and it can build. Like that's when I get out there, because I learned that as a teacher is that people learn different. People take information different, and I found the style of teaching that's easy and knowledgeable, and that was trial and error to how to break things down. I may mix some things up just because I see how you learn. Just from you asking a question, I can tell how you learn. So I can switch it up for you. So I put a lot of time in that and learning and going to a bunch of classes. I was the guy when workshops came out, because when I started Crump, there was no workshops. There was no YouTube. YouTube didn't exist when I started like Crump. So I didn't have nowhere to gather information. I was just going out there and doing it. That's why I tell people the best teacher is the session. Nothing is going to teach you more than a session could. So once all this information started to get available down the line and make us better, I went everywhere for it. I've flown everywhere for it. I was broke for it. I did a lot for this position I am now, and I put a lot of work into it. So that progress of like becoming the teacher, then evolve into the amazing dancer, and then evolve into the mentor and stuff like that. Like I have the confidence with it due to the fact of the community that helps me. My confidence raise because of everybody around me, because I don't feel like I'm alone in it. So, okay, so just adapting to different communities or different countries. What helps me adapt to different communities and countries, like especially the dancing aspect, is that like me learning the room. I fill a room out and I respect what's buck in your community or your country. I learned that, you know, here in Europe, where we're at now, right now, I learned that like, you know, the small intricate details and stuff like that, I learned like, you know, that they kind of think that takes away from the feeling. So I'm like, okay, like, you know, it doesn't make it whack, but it's just that like, you know, I'm from a place where we have more accessible knowledge than a lot of other places around the globe. So I don't judge them for that. So I respect what's buck and I understand what's buck. So I can go towards that or I can go away from it purposely. Like that's my decision, but accepting what's buck in each community is key for adapting. And it's just like, it's a different vibe from like, you know, United States and then like Europe and then like India, you know, from, you know, all that. It's different communities, different mindsets, like different IQs. So I feel like dancing in the States is really hard, but I feel like because of the knowledge, it can be easier than dancing in like Europe. I feel like it's more difficult to come here and dance because they don't have much accessible knowledge as we do, and what's really buck to them can not be the norm that we had. So because of that fact that we don't have the norm of what's buck to them, like it can make us, like it's not easy to get out there and do the EBS tournament and make it to the main stage. A lot of people don't even know how the process is because they've never been here. You know, you have to make it to that stage that you see a lot of people on, like, you know, so that alone is an accomplishment within itself, but the difficulty level is really like really high, like with succeeding with greatness. So you just got to put your time into your dance and understand that you just have to adapt and respect what's buck in these other countries to them. Not one man can decide what's buck in a whole country, not one person, because if 1,000 people are saying like we just live and we just all out, and then you're like, no, we more technical, you got to respect that. You got to respect that that's what's buck. So yeah.
Push them, dummy.